special Sunday repeated on Wednesday program, and this is
Mojo Hand, the winning boy's magic.
Marge, this ticket doesn't just give me a seat. It also gives me the right, no, the duty to make a complete ass of myself.
But as for me, I'm off to battle aliens on a faraway planet.
Hello, operator, give me the number for 911.
Who sent you here? Can't talk, little man? Bet can't play none either.
I could pull a better cartoon out of my ass. Hey, whoa! Wasn't that great, kid?
Oh, bitch, bitch, bitch.
Kill my boss. Do I dare live out the American dream?
Overload. Pleasure overload.
Uh-oh. 2 independent thought alarms in one day.
Hey, good morning, Wood Ticks and Patriots. Welcome to the Just Jim Show. It's been a couple of weeks. Life has gotten in the way, as it were. Yes, indeedy do. And let me put a little music underneath here. There. Anyway, we're glad to be back. I had a little bit of personal business to take care of, and which kept me from doing the show, which I've always said, I'm always on the air on Wednesdays, except if life gets in the way, and that it has. But anyway, we got a lot to talk about today. A couple of weeks off, and stuff just stacks up. But some of it you've heard already. We're going to talk a lot about the school systems in America today. What has happened to our educational system and or our students. You can't have an educational system without students. Wisconsin is in the news again. Apparently, there is a huge state surplus. We're going to talk about that. And I want to tell you, some of the leaders in the state are telling the state what to do and where to go with that money. You can bet that's the truth. And, of course, Sniffin' Joe is in the news this week again, claiming mRNA gene therapy will prevent cancer. Newsflash, newsflash. And, of course, our wonderful Vice President, VP Harris, was in an interview over the weekend with Chuck Todd. And you want to know something? Hey, what she says is okay. Iowa teen rapist, who killed their rapist. You're going to like this story. It comes from the Nobody Gives a Poop file because nobody's talking about it, except right here on the Just Jim Show. You want to find out what's going on with her. And then we have other stuff sitting in the back in the weeds. Guess what? We'll be back in a couple of seconds. here we are. We're back. Got to pay those bills, you know. That's how it goes. Anyway, what is today? Wednesday, September 14th. And over the weekend, I know I'm late. A lot of you have heard this all already. If you're watching, even some of the traditional newscasts, the networks, have used this or have played this little clip. And I'm going to play it here. VP Harris, among other things, one of the many things that Chuck Todd talked to her about was the border and its security, or lack thereof. And the headline reads, "You know a lie is bad whenever ultra-liberal journo Chuck Todd can't choke down his shock and disbelief." Did you watch if you happen to watch the cutting back and forth between cameras, did you watch his face as she answered or as he asked the questions? He got this real cocky look on his face, leaned back and put his nose up in the air like that and kind of squinted and flashed his eyes as he was expecting her to answer the question. I'm gonna just play it here. And
final topic here, since we're here in Texas, I want to ask you about the border. Would you call the border secure?
I think that there is no question that we have to do what the president and I asked Congress to do. Is the first request we made: pass a bill.
Pass a bill. Did you pass gas? Did you pass a bill? I'm not sure. I don't exactly sure what she's talking about. She got mumble jumble, oatmeal mouth.
To create a pathway to citizenship. The border is secure, but we also have.
What? What? The border is secure? You know, I don't even. Was she, as the czar of the southern border, has she even been down south? I don't know. I ran into a young lady who was retired from the military yesterday, matter of fact, in a local Wally World. Of course, I passed on a business card, said, tune into the show, you might like it. Maybe not. But I should have asked I didn't find out where she served, but I thanked her for her service. And I thank you again. Thank you, all of you service people. Thank you. It's what you do. And we have to do what President and I asked Congress to do. The first request we made was pass a bill to create a pathway to citizenship. You mean we don't have any way to have somebody come in from another country and become a citizen here? That would be a prime thing, wouldn't it? Yes, it would. And so we have we don't have a pathway. We don't have a pathway to much of anything anymore.
A broken immigration system, in particular over the last 4 years before we came in, and it needs to be fixed.
We're going to have 2 million people cross this border for the first time ever. You're confident this border's secure?
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration. But there are still a lot of problems that we are trying to fix, given the deterioration that happened over the last 4 years.
Look at Chucky's posture.
Also
I love it.
Have to put in place a law and a plan for a pathway for citizenship for the millions of people who are here and are.
Wait a minute. A pathway for millions of people that are here. I was under the impression, and I know I have it might even be in this article. I don't know. I don't see it at the moment. But I was under the impression we were going to have 120,000 people become citizens this year, as in that's what we have this year in 2022. And in 2023, the administration wants to keep the border numbers, immigration numbers, at that same speed or limit. But yet we have millions of people in this country, according to our illustrious vice president, that are in this country. We need to get a pathway. You know, the English language is extremely, I talk about this all the time. The English language is extremely specific. If we don't have anything, we don't have a pathway. But if we have a pathway, then we can go down the path. That's at least what she's saying, isn't it?
Prepared to do what is legally required to gain citizenship. We don't have that in place because people are playing politics in a state like this and in Congress. By the way, you want to talk about bipartisanship on an issue that at one time was a bipartisan issue, both in terms of Republican senators and even presidents.
You feel free to send me in an email if you it's right down there in the bottom of the screen. If you think she's as Chucky says, we're going to have 2 million people cross the border for the first time ever. Are you confident the border is secure? And her answer is what? Yeah, of course it's secure. We have to have a bill. There's nothing. The bill solves everything. You know, wait a minute. Check's in the mail. No, the bill's in the mail. That's what it is. Just to be clear, quote, the last 4 years that Harris is referring to was 2 years ago when Trump was president. For the record, immigration was better then than it has been in decades. Oh, Lordy. The last administration. We're how far into this administration? And all I hear coming out of administrators is the last administration, the last guy. We can't let the last guy, you can't forget anything he did. And he didn't do anything any good, did he? And the buffoonery goes on and on. Yes, buffoonery. And sometimes that's what rose by any other name. Come on, folks. Rose by any other name. What is the date? The 14th today. I got to mark this down and see how. The other article I talked about, I don't have the stats or figures in there at the moment. But it was around 120,000 immigrants to be admitted into the U.S. That was, if I remember correctly. And now we're gonna dance around subject matter here. We're gonna jump. This was from 8/3. An article came out in the AP, and it said 50,000 students in the L.A. Unified, that's Los Angeles Unified School District, did not attend the first day of school this year. And then that is approximately 11% of the entire student population was absent. They're not there. Lights on, nobody home. And wait a minute, we need a bill to make students go to school. Yeah, that's the ticket, eh? That's the ticket. We need another bill. When teachers in the Los Angeles Unified School District took attendance on August 15th, the first day of school, they discovered that a significant number of students listed on their rolls were not there. Now, it's very possible that school records were not updated with the outflux, the exodus of people from California to, a lot of them are going to Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado. I don't know if Colorado's going to take that. The altitude's so higher, it's too thin. Probably won't go there. According to reports, nearly 50,000 students, or 11% of the entire population, were absent. Despite improvements, the district is still struggling to return to pre-COVID attendance levels Last year, with COVID protocols firmly in place, chronic absenteeism skyrocketed to nearly 50%. 50%. That is 1/2 of the student population. And so officials are attempting to address the issue of absenteeism right out of the gate in 2022. Oh, Lordy. And I can tell you from personal experience that if a student is called in sick for the grandkids were called in sick, they got a cold. The end of summer, they were all partying in the pool and doing their thing. They got the cold, the sniffles. So Mama said, maybe we'll keep them home from school for a day. The school said nothing, zero, about the option of virtual learning while they were sick. Go get COVID tested, come back with a negative report, or keep them home until all symptoms are gone. That was the answer by that school administrator. I have to ask the $1 million question. Why did we just piss away millions of dollars for virtual classrooms and teachers and curriculum? Well, I don't know if there was curriculum afforded in the COVID educational system, at least probably not there. Such high absenteeism cannot be the case this year, quote unquote, said new district superintendent, particularly when we talk about black and brown kids, kids in poverty, English language learners, kids with disabilities. Isn't that, well, I suppose that would be quote unquote equitable, because that's all kids. At some point in your educational life, you fell into one of those categories. But our new learned administrator has to spell out all of these XYZ classes of kids. They lost so much ground, he added. Now is the time to accelerate. Accelerate? What is it that they're going to accelerate? You had no clue. And I get it. They're going to say, we've never taught virtually. That was a separate taboo in the United States educational system. Oh, homeschooling, virtual learning. Let me tell you, those homeschool kids that I've run into and know are so far accelerated above public school kids. And we talked about that the last show, about the report card that certain school districts have shown up with for the money we're spending per kid. And we'll talk about that. They're not getting such a good deal. The kids don't know that. But you and I, as taxpayers, damn well better know it. And we damn well better step up to the plate. Moms, dads, grandparents, great-grandparents. You need to fix this thing for the kids, for our country's future. COVID cases in the area have dropped dramatically, and students and staff no longer have to test every week like they did last year, though at-home tests have been furnished for students and families. Masks are strongly encouraged, but not required. And apparently, as of Monday, that was on the 3rd or whatever it was, 2 districts have opted to just not do masks. You know, we all know the ramifications of constant contact with paper surgical masks, and that's exactly what's been toasted out. COVID concerns may have kept some students at home. Some in the districts believe that absenteeism is caused by other struggles, such as mental illness, issues with transportation, child care for younger siblings. Now, interesting little comment there. Caused by struggles, mental illness, issues with transportation. What in God's green earth does issues with transportation? What do you mean? You don't have bus drivers? We're not going to talk about that today, but apparently the bus companies are super struggling because they don't have drivers. So I guess there is a transportation. But guess what? That's on you administrators, not us as parents and purchasers of services. And mental illness, if you lock somebody up for a year, year and a half, isolate them, have turmoil with work schedules by parents or with parents and educational, what are we doing here? I never used this computer thing. I'm illiterate. Well, they won't admit it, but they're computer illiterate. We'll push a button and get something. Oh, there's the new teacher right there on the screen looking at me. Up. Hi. And mom's off at work. This is in the high school level I'm talking about, not grade school, because you can't leave your grade school kids at home, the youngins. It's against the law. Oh, wait, a law. We need a new bill. Yeah, need another bill. But I'm going to tell you, mental health has been bantered about so much, and it's not a fallacy. It's true. The isolation factor is huge, and now the kids can't wait to get back to school and physically play with somebody. But we can only do so much playtime because it's not good for your health. Mental health is the first priority. The head of L.A. County Office of Education, attendance coordinator. Big title. A lot of people get big titles, don't they? Big, long. Give them a bigger title, no pay. And they don't need to know what they're doing. They just get a big title. We can't just look at the fact that they are chronically absent. Why not? Mom, you got a bill, or do you have a bill that says mom and dad have to send their kid to school or homeschool them? But we just can't look at that. And if they're not home, if they're not in school and they're home, they must be being homeschooled, taught something. We have to understand why that is the case, she added, and work with them before it becomes a problem. This article right here in the AP says it is a problem already. 11% of the entire population has a problem because they're not in school. They're wandering the streets. Clara stated the district is attempting to pivot away from punishing truancy and toward cultivating a safe and welcoming environment where students want to be. A local answer to that is no cost to go to school. You need to get a pair of tennis shoes, a backpack, and some gym shoes so you don't scuff up the gym floor. That's a local, right here, local, Lake Wisheyebegone school district answer to the problem by a grant somewhere and or CV-19 money that's poured into the district and the state. Another story. We'll go there in a minute. We're trying to move away from punitive measures. I gotta ask you the $1 million question. You put your thinking hats on here for a minute. A thinking hat? I'm gonna get rid of that down there. Put on not the dunce, although some of you'll have the dunce cap on come hell or high water. We know that the kids need to feel successful in order to want to come back to school. She continued, we want to create a supportive environment for students rather than punish them. Well, little Johnny won't get his hand slapped. Mommy bear cub, won't get her disciplinary letter in the mail because we need to have participation trophies. God, just get them in the building and damn the educational rationale that they have to learn something, reading, writing, arithmetic, geography. What happened? We need to now talk about gender identity and equality. That's the primary thing. Make them feel safe. We'll talk about all the things that kids are too young to know and understand in the parochial schools, in the grade schools. Plenty of time for them to grow up and figure out who the hell they are. Need to have basic skill sets. And that is what's lacking. I do not know what the Wisconsin stats are. As far as attendance, but I can find out, and I will. Now, that being said, midterm elections are right around the corner. And in January, the end of January this year, Senator Marklein, Wisconsin, says that Wisconsin has an extraordinary surplus of tax dollars. What the hell's up with that, Wood Ticks? And in our school, in the state, one of the guys that used to run the educational system, the Department of Education, is now our governor. And he says that he's going to spend $2 billion, got that, billion dollars of that surplus in the educational world as he blasts the opponent in ad commercials. And yes, he doesn't come out and say, don't run those ads anymore. The guy running against him, he wants to defund or depopulate the financial coffers. And there's a certain rationale that says, how much good money do you throw after bad money? So we have this $5 billion tax surplus in our state, Wisconsin. And he's going to spend $2 billion in the educational system. Interesting blah, blah, political blah, blah. That's all it is. Hey, somebody finally speaks the truth. Yeah. The Legislative Fiscal Bureau, LFB, released revised revenue projections to the legislature just in January. As co-chair of the state's budget writing committee, I anxiously awaited the news. That's Senator Marklein. A decade of responsible budgeting and significant tax cuts by Republicans. See, and the article should just say by elected officials. From the get-go, this is coming out of Wisconsin politics. I got to give the copyright notice. All rights reserved. Facts are facts. The projected ending balance for 21-23 biennium in June of 2023 is $3.8 billion. $3.8 billion. I have to ask a real simple question. You're a property owner. You're getting taxed. You're getting school district taxes. You have a $3.8 billion surplus in the state coffers. Businesses are going out of business because they can't afford to stay in business. They can't muster customers, small businesses. The projection is due to an increased revenues of approximately $2.5 billion more in tax collections and less state spending than anticipated. Sales tax, personal income taxes, and corporate tax collections have been increased exponentially. So that's what you do. That's what the liberals do in order to make themselves look good. We'll just raise the taxes. Tax the little guy out of business. I'm just suggesting it.
Everything that guy just said is bullshit. Thank you.
So down the road we go. We're spending we are spending your tax dollars responsibly and funding our priorities. But this is also due, in part, to all the federal funding and stimulus money that's pouring into our state. That's not what he talked about before. He said personal taxes and business taxes. That's what's going on, why we have a revenue. The following table reflects a 21-23 general fund condition statement, which incorporates LFBs, that is the Legislative Fiscal Bureau, revenue and expenditure projections. And there's a chart there. Do I have it? Let's see. Do I have the legislative tax breakdown? I thought I did up there. Sorry, I'm looking here. Whoa. Why is that disappearing? No, that was Chucky Todd. Yep. Hang on 2 seconds with me here. I got so many buttons to push. Anyway, the down and dirty of it is that our tax coffers will increase exponentially. Immediately following this announcement, several politicians announced their enthusiasm to spend all of this projected money. Politicians announce their enthusiasm. Doesn't matter who is in office, they can't wait to spend it. Give me more money, I'll spend more. Give me more.
Hello, operator. Give me the number for 911.
How about your budget at home? Is that what's going on here? We must be very aware of maintenance, quote unquote, maintenance of effort, MOE, and maintenance of equity requirements. We are managing in order to receive $2 billion in federal funding for K-12 schools. So the governor is promising to spend $2 billion. Guess what? It's earmarked for K-12 schools. He's going to get it somewhere else. It's got nothing to do with him. He's going to get it thrown in, and he knows it's going to the educational system. So, I'll make it sound good. This is a feel-good commentary. Andy Warhol, 15 Minutes of Fame and Fortune. We're going to send you $2 billion from the federal government. Excuse me. And to refresh your memory, Wisconsin must maintain state support for K-12 and higher education at the same ratio as your average of previous federal years for the next 2 years. You got to boost the level up, and then you got to hold it for 2 years. But you're going to get $2 billion. So if you're going to get $2 billion and it's going to get shoved into K-12, that means you got a $2 billion expenditure for 2 more years. Every year. Right now, at the first of the year, our state budget meets MOE. However, in 2023, we could be 5 million short. Now we go from billions to millions. We must continue to be vigilant, blah, 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 and well positioned for the future when all of the one-time federal funding went in. It's not federal funding. Honey, child, it's your money and my money. It's our tax dollars. It is, as Jen used to say, we're going to circle back and give it back to you. I don't know exactly why our quote-unquote conservative elected officials are waving this flag. It's kind of a prognostication of what's going to come in the next 2 fiscal years. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm going to tell you, I think that they're not keeping track of what it is they need to keep track of, which kind of sucks from my perspective as a taxpayer. And with that, I'm going to take a break. We're going to go pay some bills. We'll be back in a little bit. Hey, welcome back. The Just Jim Show, for those of you who are just joining me. We're talking a little bit about taxes, education, who wants to do what with what, and how much are they going to do it with. That's right. Milwaukee leaders asked the state to use budget surplus for Wisconsin schools. You know, I have a savings account. You have a savings account. You have a budget, and you know what your budget is. You stay within it. Why is it that every year, every tax year, it's just become commonplace that we expect to see our tax bills go up, or they reassess the tax valuation? And performance is non-existence. If you go to work, I say this every show, elected officials have a job code, job description. They're supposed to. You and I go to work, we have a job code. We're supposed to do something. What that something is, I don't know. At least it's become a blur in the political structure. Milwaukee business leaders, as I mentioned before, have written a letter to Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers, along with Speaker Robin Voss and Senate Majority Leader Devin Milani. What is it? I'm myrtleizing his name. Calling on the state to invest a portion of its $5.5 billion surplus back into the state's education system, the K-12s. Remember now, or I started this thing off by saying 11% of kids in the L.A. school district don't even bother going to school. I will find out how many people do not attend school. What's the absentee level in Wisconsin? The last state budget, letter called for inflationary adjustment of $343 per pupil and an increase in the reimbursement rate to support students with disabilities from 28.18% to 50%. The last state budget did not provide a per pupil increase, which Metropolitan Milwaukee Association of Commerce Tim Shee said Wednesday is the strongest way to provide equity among schools and school districts. The data from Wisconsin Policy Forum indicates that the state lags behind in support of students with disabilities. The state's current reimbursement rate is 28.18, which is the lowest in the country. And I have a back end story for that. I may not remember to tell you, but that's the way it is. I do have one. Data from the Wisconsin Policy Forum indicates the state lags behind in support to students with disabilities. Oh, sorry, I said that. The long list of supporters for this, not the lack of, but the new expenditure dollars, includes Baird, the Brewer Community Foundation, MMAC, Milwaukee Bucks, Pabst Theater Group, and Greater Milwaukee Foundation. Several of these organization leaders spoke at the Riverside Theater last Wednesday, and they're all calling for financial support of the state's education system. So, pursuant to this meeting, I believe, the illustrious governor of Wisconsin, Tony Evers, has said he's going to spend $2 billion. Billion. That's a B, not an M. $1 billion of this 5.5 surplus in schools. That being said, we have a local school district that wants another referendum. Hello, referendum. What is that? That's money that we get taxed that's above and beyond the school funding program, because the administrators, say that they need it to provide continuing support for curriculum. Excuse me. Up here, all it means is that they need money to support a dome, a sports dome, that it built without total funding. It just went ahead and built it, had some funding. And the village idiots and wood ticks that spend their hard-earned dollars above and beyond the tax system think that the whole dome is paid for. Not quite. I do not know. I don't get why the Connect the Dot little song program isn't playing continuously in communities. It needs to be thrown on the radio. Oh, speaking of radio, I'm going to have to tell you exactly. I got a radio buzz. And while, yes, the funds are available, but not earmarked for education, a bunch of business leaders say, oh, I agree. Let's raise the tax rate or the contribution to $342.82 per student. And we won't bother coming back and saying any of this funding is pending performance levels. No, there's no attachment for that. You know, a number of years back, remember when all the pro football boys got raises and the raises were dependent or in addition to performance bonuses? Where is our performance bonus in our school system, in our educational, in our future of America? Where has it gone? I don't know. Apparently it's non-existent, or it isn't needed, or do administrators want to dumb down our kids so they can get away with more? I'm thinking maybe more of that door number 3 than anything else. The Greater Milwaukee Committee president said that when the GMC was searching for its next president, the greatest issue the members found facing the community was support of education. Brennan previously served as the Wisconsin Department of Administration secretary. Oh, so we have a government person trying to make it in the real world. While Brennan indicates the state did not provide COVID-19 pandemic support to schools, it didn't. We spent a lot of money on infrastructure and virtual learning. Why didn't the state chip in? I'm asking the million-dollar question. You should be asking it too. Its current fiscal position with a budget surplus puts the state in a very enviable spot. Well, of course it does. We have money to go get now. Our money. Coming back, it's circling back from the federal level, making it suitable time to provide additional support to the educational system. Palermo Pizza chairman said that doing the right thing means investing. Hamong American Peace Academy executive said such an investment would be transformational. Other leaders who spoke at the Riverside event, including Zilber Limited Executive Vice President, Capco CEO, and the School District of South Milwaukee's Director of Business Services. They want your money. They want our money. We got referendums. The one thing we don't talk about, they read a nice article like this, but why aren't these school districts that they're waving flags on, do they have referendums existing? Are they attempting to get referendums? And our local school district here wants a massive school district. Oh, it won't raise your taxes any. It'll just stay the same. But they get, I don't know, $4 or $5 million a year. And here another $2 billion is going to be tossed in the kitty by our governor. And the director partner at Care Direct added on Twitter that money doesn't solve problems, people solve problems. And you want to know something? He's exactly correct. Village idiots and wood ticks don't solve a damn thing. They don't. And that is who's running the circus. And we just put up with it. Time after time after referendum after referendum. And our kids don't get they get no benefit, zero benefit. Spend more money. Spend more money get less in hopes of getting more. I'm just not following that mentality. And of course, with that, from the no one gives a rainbow poop. Hey, we have a fruit fly in here. How about that? Biden claims mRNA gene therapy vaccines will prevent cancers. AP story, not mine. During his speech commemorating the 60th anniversary of President John F. Kennedy's moonshot speech promising to put America on the moon. Didn't we do that? Yeah, we did. Joe Biden, Sniffin' Joe, claimed that his scientists are currently exploring his English language, his scientists, not mine or yours, his scientists are exploring how mRNA vaccines and new technologies could prevent and treat cancer through gene therapy. In his own personal moonshot for cancer. Remember he promised to get rid of cancer during his election campaign. Do you remember that?
The president has a big stick. I promise you.
During his speech, Biden told the public that to prevent cancer, scientists are exploring whether mRNA vaccine technologies that brought us safe and effective COVID-19 can be used to stop cancer cells when they first arise.
Everything that guy just says is bullshit. Thank you.
Here's a quote-unquote, Biden. To prevent cancer, scientists are exploring whether mRNA vaccine technology that brought us safe and effective can be used to stop cancer when they first arise. He claimed that soon vaccines may be able to prevent cancer, even as scientists and the CDC officials admit mRNA vaccines do not prevent COVID, but rather are alleged to lessen the virus's symptoms. I ain't saying that. It's not my thing. Not at all. I'm not saying it does. I'm not saying it doesn't. And I'm just reading the story coming out in the AP. Imagine the possibilities. Getting a simple shot, apparently with an mRNA cocktail, instead of grueling chemo, or getting a pill from local pharmacy instead of an invasive treatment and long hospital stays, he added. Do you listen to his language? What did he say? Quote, unquote, instead of a grueling chemo or getting a pill from a local pharmacy, instead of invasive treatments and long hospital stays, he added. While the speech itself raised eyebrows, Biden's remark did not go without one of the president's signature gaffes. He makes gaffes? Really? Where's my laugh track? I don't know. Can't find it. Got a laugh track somewhere. The president strangely claimed that the U.S. Department of Defense, that's who originally funded the summer lunch program for our kiddies through the school systems, the Department of Defense, and yes, I have the paperwork, has the ability to calculate the energy department to 1,000,000 billion calculations per second. What the hell does that have to do with anything? I'm just saying. To the Defense Department, quote unquote, to the Defense Department that has the ability to calculate the energy department to 1,000,000 billion calculations per second. September 12th, 2022. I don't get it. The elderly president repeated that curing cancer was one of the main reasons that he ran for president. I just said that before, didn't I? He promised to end cancer. He promised.
Uh-oh. 2 independent thought alarms in one day.
Cancer, to create a cancer cabinet to tackle a disease which he said does not discriminate. It doesn't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Biden also tapped Renee Wegrezen to be his director of the newly created Advanced Research Projects Agency for Health, which is focused on biomedical innovation, it has been reported. That's our Republicans. I mean, our administrators. Many remember in July of this year, Biden confused America by appearing to reveal he is currently suffering from cancer during a completely unrelated climate change speech. Well, all I gotta say is, I don't know what he's afflicted with. Sometimes it's just whatever. We've been thrown off of YouTube. Oh, excuse me, I'm tired. Been a long week. The White House is citing a Washington Post columnist later claimed that Biden was confused and simply referring to skin cancer he had removed before running for the White House. Though conservatives quickly poked a hole in his theory as to why he had a gaffe. This stuff just, you gotta, if you're an administrator or public relations person in this administration, you have to cringe when a microphone strolls over and sits down in front of Sniffin' Joe. You have no clue what is going to be said. I can hear all the press people with their ears. Fact check, fact check, fact check. Quick, quick, quick. Get him away from the mic. I can hear it all now. And one of the other stories that I wanted to talk about quick here. Actually, it's a couple different stories, but we'll go with this one. We hear the buzzwords. Excuse me. I have every show I have a frog. It's dry in here. I got to keep hydrating with my JustJim coffee. Good stuff. A teenage human trafficking victim, not equity. Iowa teen who killed rapist sentenced and ordered to pay $150,000. Did you follow that? A teen raped victim. A teenage human trafficking victim who was initially charged with first-degree murder after she stabbed her accused rapist to death was sentenced Tuesday in an Iowa court to 5 years of closely supervised probation in order to pay $150,000 restitution to the man's family. How dare they use 2 words of this? Man and family. Those 2 words have nothing to do with this person. He's a stalker, a predator, a rapist. And all I can say is he kind of gets what he gets, doesn't he? Polk County District Judge David Porter on Tuesday deferred those prison sentences, meaning that if Lewis violates portion of her probation, she could be sent to prison and serve a 20-year term. Oh, Lordy. Where's the... As for being required to pay the estate of a rapist, the court is presented with no other option. Porter said nothing. The restitution is mandatory under Iowa law and has been upheld by the Iowa Supreme Court. Well, and I guess that's the gist of equity. We won't give flexibility to anyone, anything, anytime. There are no excuses if it violates the law, this law, whatever. Lewis was 15 when she stabbed Brooks more than 30 times in Des Moines apartment. Officials have said Lewis was a runaway who was seeking to escape an abusive life with her adopted mother and sleeping in the hallways of a Des Moines apartment building when a 28-year-old man took her in before forcibly trafficking her to other men for sex. Well, I don't know what to say on this one. How could you be? Oh, Lordy. Police and prosecutors have not disputed that Lewis was sexually assaulted and trafficked, but prosecutors have urged that Brooks was asleep at the time he was stabbed and not an immediate danger to Lewis. Have you ever heard the term opportunity knocks? I would hope that someone starts a GoFundMe program for this young lady. The judge goes, the next 5 years of your life will be full of rules you disagree with. I'm sure of that. He later added, this is the second chance that you've asked for. You don't get a third. Man, oh man, oh man. Yeah, Carl Schilling with the Iowa Organization for Victim Assistance said a bill to create a safe harbor law for trafficking. You know, you need a bill for everything. A bill to keep people on a pathway. And here you have a 15-year-old, took 2 years to get caught, and he's going to have to pay $150,000 to the family bystanders that didn't know what he was doing while he was doing it. Iowa does have an affirmative defense law that gives some leeway to victims of crime if the victim committed the violation under compulsion by another, threat or serious injury, provided that the defendant reasonably believed that such injury was imminent. So they're claiming, apparently, that rape is not a activity that causes injury. Well, you know, the wood ticks are loose. The village idiots, our court jesters are running America. Who in their right mind sees that? And a story, excuse me, that runs kind of hand in hand with this. Let's go see what we got to say here.
What does Tim Michaels say to Wisconsin women who get pregnant after being raped?
Let's not say we do.
To ask her to go through the birth is not unreasonable. This fall, don't vote for Tim Michaels.
Lightsabers are finally a reality, and you can own one. This new military flashlight is basically a lightsaber that fits in your pocket.
What's really important to us is not just that we have a police operation, because we had a successful police operation, but we're trying to identify the victims of human trafficking. And when we do, from the moment they come into the operation, we want to immediately hand them off to our social services friends and our counselors so that they can begin working with these victims of human trafficking. These are some of the most difficult victims to work with. We know there are a lot more of them that admitted, but as you can see, that we have fuzzed out the faces of several that have admitted or either we suspect. And then there's one that we had to tape over this morning that was in the county jail who just this morning admitted to us, okay, I am a victim of human trafficking. I would like services. So our goal is to start these services the moment that they are taken into custody, and then to treat them as what they are, victims, not suspects of criminal events. I might point out if others of these prostitutes come forward later as victims, there's specific law in the state of Florida that's really terrific that causes us to go in and eliminate all evidence of an arrest, photographs, reports, court actions, and they're treated as a victim.
Novel idea there, and I wholeheartedly, excuse me, have a good heartfelt interest in this. But I look at the headline here that says, Disney worker, teachers arrested in operation. The Disney Corporation? Why in God's green earth? And there is a list of pictures with names of people who were arrested.
Her as a victim, and if she'll accept the services of these wonderful ladies that's behind us, we can make a positive difference that over to us. But listen, we didn't give him any pizza. We don't serve any pizza at the jail, but certainly he felt like he had gone through a pizza oven by the time he had gotten arrested, got to go to jail. But he was an honest sort of Domino Pizza franchise owner. He said, well, I've done this 4 times in the past. Well, have you discussed this with your wife? Did you get her permission? Did she say, go, boy, go? Apparently not.
Apparently not. Own a franchise pizza parlor business and use it to become a sexual predator. And this is in Florida.
Next one, but please make those calls. And if you're someone who is arrested for purchasing a person, that's not okay. Okay, we don't buy people. That's not okay. And so I'm sorry we had to meet like this, but I'm really glad that we do this because I really hope you have learned a lesson here. Thank you so much.
Okay. Jody?
Thank you, Sheriff Judd. My name is Jody Domingue. I'm the Executive Director of Anti-Trafficking at One More Child. One More Child is a nonprofit organization
that One More Child, there are a number of anti-trafficking organizations out there. Jocko, I forget his name, he's over on the Blaze Network, has been working tirelessly for children's rights, anti-trafficking laws, everywhere he goes in. And I got to tell you, the guy knows his stuff. I would say a different word, but I'd have to pay a quarter.
Served over 320,000 children and families last year by coming alongside foster children, hungry children, struggling families, single moms, and trafficked children and adults. We've worked these human trafficking operations with the Polk County Sheriff's Office and the various agencies represented here today, and every single time we are able to identify several potential victims of human trafficking. But what we also know is that everyone that walks through those doors to be purchased, after we sit down and we hear their stories, they have had histories every single time of being abused and being sexually exploited. So our teams, made up of advocates, peer mentors, and mental health counselors, are able to come alongside of them immediately to offer life-changing services that begin the restoration process immediately. So we're going to ask this. If you have children in your life, because we know now more than ever, children and young adults are susceptible for being trafficked and sexually exploited, please be involved in their lives. Find out who their friend groups are and what their friend groups are doing. Find out what they're doing on the internet. Check out their social media apps, monitor them, find out what websites they're frequenting. And please learn the signs to identify human trafficking and grooming.
That's absolutely true. And there was, and I forget what it is. There was it red marker on your hand or something like that? I don't remember what it was, but there is a sign that be keyed in on if you see someone who is maybe being timid or not out of place, maybe what you might consider to be out of place. May not be out of place, but I'm going to tell you, there's things going on. A recent thing that I just heard of, or I read somewhere, probably on AP somewhere, was that there is a new tactic by abductors. They follow a shopping lady person, female. Of course, now to be gender neutral, could be anybody. They start when you park your car. They go into the store with you or near you, around you, and watch you shop and do your thing. Then they leave the store prior to you getting into your vehicle. They know your car because they saw you come in. And they hang a red ribbon or bow on your door handle on the passenger side, where you probably would not see it as you approach your car and get in and drive off. But that's a sign to the abductors that you're alone, not necessarily single, but alone, and you are a female or a product that they want. This has been a new nuance to the abduction world. This was down in Florida. Disney workers, teachers, 160 people arrested in Polk County. How do 160 people? This is not just a average mom and pop operation. 160 deviants involved in abducting people. And then, as the last story went, a 15-year-old stabs and kills the person who abducted them, raped them, kills the person, and then has to pay $150,000 to the family. How are we upside down in America? Is America upside down? And you want the same liberal people to be in office that do not want to charge bail on people who get arrested? Did you see in Illinois, first of the year, there's a list of non-holdable violations. You're only going to get a ticket. You're going to get let go. You guys, everybody's got to start waking up. And I don't mean woke. Screw the woke stuff. It's got nothing to do with America and our kids. I get tongue-tied when I watch this stuff about kids taking off and being abducted and held. And then you have this guy.
My name is John Fetterwoman.
There you go. John Fetterwoman. Oh, God almighty. God help us. People, God help us. Fetterwoman. Is he pandering for votes? He can't walk and talk hardly, and he won't debate, but he wants you to send him to D.C. I don't get this. That's on the Rubin Report. I'm just passing the information on. It's beside me. I don't get it. Oh, Lordy, I'm looking here. And I'm going to, one more thing, and I think I'm going to go. 9 o'clock. Yeah. And everyone is saying that there is a massive rail strike that's supposed to take place. I think it's Friday. Not sure. But there's some other people who are saying the government will probably step in, much like they did air traffic controllers, and mandate that they stay on the job. But that said, the great American word, yeah, but the people, Is there, I can't say, how do I say this? Are there opportunists who see an opportunity and then go and manufacture, take advantage of it? This railroad strike, if it happens, is one of the most inopportune times in America's history, with the crazy runaway inflation, supply chain issues. If they, in fact, the union goes out on strike, you got to ask yourself, what's the cause? What's the use of having a union when you can't see practical usages of your job? Yeah, this just came out September. I know that supposedly September 16th, they're supposed to go out on strike. A couple days, Friday. Are they taking advantage of we need them? Kind of like, I got in this discussion the other day, kind of like the women's lib movement and or the teachers union in Minneapolis, where seniority doesn't mean anything anymore. Yet I will say many railroad workers have been laid off. I don't know what the percentage is, but a lot of the railroad union workers have been laid off unnecessarily, a lot of people say, which has led to long hours, almost unsafe work conditions. And I can't they could block. Congress is saying Congress could block the strike, but I don't know. But be prepared. You guys put your bobbleheads on, take a look around you, and try and be prepared for what you think the worst case scenario is. And if you lose your supply chain, everything's going to dry up. Durable goods, disposable goods, one-time use goods. It's not, I say this all the time, this isn't going to end well, simply because of the amount of bullshit that's being thrown at the wall. I think my first quarter today. It's exactly that. It's bull. And everybody is positioning to do what it is that they think they need to do for gain. I think back to the Enron fiasco, how many years ago? And the union sat there twiddling their thumbs because they had no answer, but they had all their money, not all their money, but a lot of their money in the Enron biomed world. That didn't end well either, did it? I know I lost 6 digits in it. Yep. So with that, what do I got? Let me look at this. Music videos. What do I got? Nothing there. I got one. All right. I think I'm going to take off for today. I can only handle so much bad news, and I got piles of it back behind me here that I could just keep going on, but I'm not going to. And hopefully, I have some personal business, again, medical business I need to take care of in the next week or two. I may or may not be back on, but I guarantee you somewhere along the line, I'm going to, even if I have to record it and upload it, I will figure out a way to keep in touch. I'm in touch. The Just Jim Show's in touch. You be in touch. And remember, no matter what you do, you got to be good to each other, because in the end, that's all we have left. You agree to disagree going into the argument or discussion. Don't call it an argument. It's a discussion. Discuss anything. It's all fair game, but agree to disagree. You're going to have people that just don't agree with you. Have your facts checked. Know the facts, and be animate with your facts. Nothing wrong with that. Being forceful. Win the debate. The only way you win the debate is coming up on the midterm elections. And with that, I play this video quite often, and I hate to do it. I'll get another one. Oh, wait a minute. I told you I was going to do this. Hang on a minute. Hang on. I got to find... oh, yeah. Before I go away, I'm going to play this. And...
Build Back Better. You've been hearing it a lot these days, mostly from people who get all their news from Facebook and believe everything it says. Well, here at Build Back Better Bank, we know you want the most from your money. That's why this week, if you open a new checking account, we'll give you a hard-boiled egg and a popsicle. That's right. How do we do it? Well, we're building back better. Need a tank of gas to get to your job? We have loans available for that, too, at 3 different huge interest rates. Good grief, holy smokes, and WTF. Plus, check out our new Build Back Better home equity loan so you can afford groceries this week. Only 579% interest, even less if you recently died from murder hornets or monkeypox. Because at Build Back Better Bank, we understand. Build Back Better Bank, where delusional thoughts become reality every day.
Oh, don't you love it? Build Back Better Bank. You betcha. We'll show you the way. Hey, thanks for sending that in. I love it. Hey, we do get emails, and we get interesting tools to sit and ponder. All right, and with that, I'm going to bid adieu. Have a great day, a better tomorrow. I say that all the time to everybody I meet. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Be good to each other. God bless, and have a great day.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a defender. So God made a patriot. God said, I need somebody willing to sacrifice everything, his fortune, his sacred honor, even his life, for liberty and something called inalienable rights that he cannot see but knows he cannot live without. So God made a patriot. God said, I need somebody willing to ride a horse through sleepy towns in the dark of night, sounding the alarm, entreating neighbors to take up arms against an overwhelming force of wicked tyranny. So God made a patriot. God said, I need someone who, even after crushing defeats, rises up and stands tall. Someone who hears the clarion call that these are the times that try men's souls and does not shrink from the trial. Someone who will cross a frozen river in the dead of winter, when all logic and reason says turn back, abandon hope. So God made a patriot. Then God said, I need a man who knows of the rise and fall of great nations, who knows of human nature and the corrupting influence of power and the fragility of liberty. I need this man, along with his like-minded brethren, to write an enduring constitution. So God made a patriot. God said, I need a person, one person, who's willing to do whatever it takes, even write a book to confront injustice and spark a movement that would tear apart a people so that chains will rightfully be shattered and a blessed union eventually emerge. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who, with the love of family and for the love of country, will cross a vast ocean and storm a heavily fortified beach. And, if he survives, charge through 200 yards of bullets and blood across that merciless beach. And if he survives, scale the towering cliffs. And if he survives, begin the long march to free a continent. And if he survives, return home and, with the same resolute determination, rebuild a nation, and someday be called the greatest generation. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who will, without thought of self, invest in schools and scouts and church and community, so that the proposition that all men are created equal remains a beacon to enlighten the world, and that such a beacon shall not perish from the earth. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone who will have the courage to not give up her seat on a bus and thus force a nation to confront its deepest divisions and heal the wounds and pursue the dream that inspires all hearts. So God made a patriot. And God said, I need someone strong enough to stand against any enemy, foreign or domestic, that would try to steal the freedom so dearly defended, the rights so righteously upheld, yet gentle enough to help a small child carry a star-spangled flag in a hometown parade. So God made a patriot. Then God said, I need a man who will speak the truth to his own leaders, that in order to preserve our great nation, we will not sacrifice the well-being of future generations for the sake of our own. Someone who will tirelessly toil day upon night, no matter the setback, no thought of surrender. Someone who will prayerfully rise every morning to climb the wall as a defender, duly endowed with the honored gift of generations before, while offering a solemn promise to generations ahead. A defender who will ensure that the way of truth and the torch of liberty remain forever lit in this shining city on a hill. So God made a patriot.